Hi, we are the students from the UAB Occupational Therapy program. We're going to get into introducing ourselves. My name is Jakira.
I'm Nikki.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Cordeja.
And I'm Rachel.
So glad to see y'all here.
And today we're going to be talking about client and caregiver pairs.
All right, need a moment. As we go through this presentation, we would like for you to think about what type of relationship you have with your client. We utilize the Twix candy as a symbolic way to help you understand the roles that each individual plays in a healthy caregiving relationship. Do you have a Twix relationship? The Twix has 3 ingredients: the chocolate covering, caramel, and a crunchy biscuit. The chocolate layer represents the caregiver. The caregiver cares, provides for, and protects the client. The biscuit represents the client. If you look closely, this part of the candy is slightly bigger. Depending on the client's independence level, some may require more help than others. The caramel keeps the chocolate and the biscuit separate, but somehow brings both ingredients together for a great treat. In caregiver relationships, it's important that healthy boundaries are set in place to establish independence, but keep the interdependence present. We do want to point out, just because we're referring to people as clients, this description can go for anyone that you care for, such as a family member, a loved one, a child, a neighbor, etc.
Find a moment. So as a caregiver, you might spend most, if not all of your time caring for somebody else. And today we want to talk about why it's important to have some time for yourself as well. It is really important to take care of yourself, so that way you have more to offer to the person that you're caring for. And here are some tips to do that. You can use a planner or a to-do list to plan ahead and stay organized. Knowing that it's okay to ask for help and also to say no can help make sure that you are only doing what's beneficial for you and your clients. Limiting screen time can free up a lot of time throughout the day. Being realistic about how much you can fit in one day is important, so that you don't overcommit. And filling your time with activities you are genuinely interested in allows you to only do the things that you are going to benefit from.
Moving on, we're going to talk about some ways that you can stay motivated while being a caregiver. So one way is meeting with other caregivers. AHIF has support groups, but then there's also digital media spaces such as Facebook groups and other forms of social media. The second way is incorporating quality time with your loved ones into your daily or weekly routine. So this can be something like playing a game, doing an art project, having a movie night, things like that. And the final way is to think about the ways that you've changed and grown as you've been a caregiver. And one thing that was really a really helpful way to keep track of this is journaling.
Okay, so we're going to talk about, if you don't practice self-care now, you will pay for it later. So these are some tips for creating healthy boundaries. One is identifying your own unique values and rules, establishing a time to set aside for your me time, and being consistent. So for example, when setting your time aside for your me time, make sure to tell the person that you're caring for, like, hey, I'm about to take some time out to myself, please do not interrupt. Or letting taking some time out to go somewhere and do what you like to do, and things like that, just to set a healthy boundary that this is your time and what you're going to do for yourself.
Next is about living in the moment. So when each layer is individually intact, we get a well-functioning whole. The benefits of caregiver and client independence are: one, it can enable you to maintain an identity outside of your caregiver roles. You have to remember that you have a responsibility as a caregiver, but you also have to recognize that you have a responsibility to yourself in making sure that you take care of yourself. It reduces stress and anxiety and exhaustion. It decreases chances of developing subsequent health issues. It can improve your relationship between the one that you're caring for, and yourself, and it lessens feelings of hopelessness or loss of control. So we're going to take a moment and you're going to journal if you'd like to. And I just want you to write or think about when have you found a time to have your own independence? What did you do in that time, and kind of what helped you make sure that you set aside time for yourself?
So this would be a good time to pause if you're doing this at home. And then once you're done journaling, you can join us back for the activity. Okay, so far we've talked about how you can set time aside for yourself and why that's important. And today we want to focus on self-care and how you can benefit from self-care activities. If you are not familiar with what self-care is, it basically is just taking care of yourself. And people do this in many different ways, depending on what your interests are and what you enjoy. Self-care allows us to be healthy and well. It helps prevent disease, cope with hardship, deal with daily stressors, which is something that you might identify with as a caregiver. It helps you fulfill your jobs and responsibilities better. And for many of you, that might be taking care of others. And today we are going to do the ABCs of self-care. And so if you're at home, you can take a blank sheet of paper and list out the letters of the alphabet. And then we're going to go ahead and fill in an activity for each letter. And once that's completed, you can use that to get different ideas of what you might be able to do at home. Our first set of letters is A, B, C, D, and E. We have some ideas already here for you. So for C, we have cooking, and E, exercise. If you're working at home, you can pause the video here and fill those in and then come back when you're ready. So for A, we have art, B, taking a bath, C, cooking, like I said, D, going for a drive, and E, exercise. So these are all activities that you might be able to do at home that are considered self-care and you can benefit a lot from.
Okay, the next set of letters are F, G, H, I, and J. So for an example, for G, we have gardening, and for I, we have instruments, so you can play music if that's something you enjoy doing. So this time it would be good to pause the video again and see if you can think of some more activities that can start with F, H, or J. And then some of the activities that we came up with for F, fishing, G, garden, H, home. That could be hanging out at home, doing some redecorating at home or remodeling. I, playing an instrument, or J, journaling.
All right, so now we are at K, L, M, N, and O. As we go up the letters, they do get a little more difficult. So first we have kayaking, and then for O, we have orchids. Going to go pick apples if that's something that you would like to do. And you can pause the video and think about something that will be in reference to L, M, and O. So I came up with lemonade for L, M for music, and N for nature walking. And as before, we do have kayaking for K and orchids for O.
So the next set of letters is P, Q, R, S, and T. So as an example, we have Q for quilting and T for take a walk. So just like before, pause for a moment and take a second to fill out the rest of the letters. And this is what we came up with. So we have P for paint, Q for quilting, R for reading a book, S for stretching, and T for taking a walk.
All right, so we are almost done with the letter. So for U, we have use positive affirmation. X, we have explore. And then for Z, we have Z's for references to taking a nap. So if you could just pause the video and you can try to come up with some things for V, W, and Y. I know it's going to be hard, but just give it a try. All right, so we're back. For V, I came up with vacation. For W, I came up for wind down. Get you a good glass of wine. And then for Y, I came up with YouTube videos. Get you a glass of wine and watch you a good cooking YouTube video.
So this is another space that we'd like to invite you to pause and get your journal back out and just take a moment to write about which of the activities you're most excited to try, which of the activities you don't think you would try, and then brainstorming how you think you would feel and when you would like to do these and who you'd like to do them with.
All right, so for conclusion, the dynamics of client/caregiver relationship develop and progress over time. The X factor is to achieve a healthy relationship where interdependence, willingness, and trust are established. It's important to be proud of every moment that you spend with your client or caregiver.
The client-caregiver relationship should not overcome the caregiver's life. Taking time for each person to have their own independence is vital for healthy dynamics to be maintained. So if you take time for yourself, you'll likely be in a better mood, and that will improve your interactions with the person that you're caring for.
So we wanted to thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you will be able to use self-care sometime soon.
Thank you. Bye.